following program contains material that viewers may find unsuitable for younger children. A parental control system is advised. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised. For a real view, real opinion, and for an honest conversation, it's time to Get Real with Mahieash Johnney. Tonight, coming to you from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get Real, where we talk to notable newsmakers here at home and all around the world. And tonight, another newsmaker who became a political sensation overnight, so to speak. And he's very vocal about a lot of things here in Sri Lanka. And he is one of our parliamentarians. Welcome back to the program, Dilith Jayaweera, the leader of Sarvajana Balaya. Good to see you once again, Dilith, and thank you for being here with us. So you are joining us exactly about 2 weeks after the budget has been presented by this government, the second NPP budget. Your reactions?
No, first of all, Mahieash, I should say this. This budget lacks clarity and depth, and I don't see a strategic direction in which that these numbers are getting added up. To me, it looks like a CEO's review written by an accountant. They're mostly talking about isolated numbers. Primary focus could be seen as the management of the debt stock and the servicing of the debts comfortably. But when it is a budget of a country, the expected thing of a budget of a nation is how this nation is going to be driven for the coming fiscal year. Having said that, government was trying to make some popular add-ons, so to say, but those are also don't come from any ideological perspective of the government. Government, as you know, is supposed to be a people's government because they are technically speaking, they are a Marxist government. The base is that, and they are supposed to be responsible for the poor people of the country, and how this budget is going to help them is not at all visible. The other thing is that budget does not talk about any new money being made for the country. In other words, there is no plan that you can see on wealth creation. So when you don't have wealth being created, that is why I said, if it is a CEO's statement, the emphasis should have been more on how we are going to create wealth, from which we will take a portion to service the debt, from which we will take a larger portion to help the people, reduce the unemployment, so on and so forth. So I don't see that.
In terms of certain numbers that you were mentioning about, the government was saying that 2.3% GDP growth, they want to maintain that. And then they gave this a very flowery picture by 2030, we're going to hit the 7% mark, which is like going to be exuberantly a renaissance of economic renaissance here in Sri Lanka. 7% is a really ideal number.
No, see, to get there, Johnny, to get there, you have to have a strategy.
Do you see that?
Exactly. This is my problem. So when you're talking in terms of macroeconomics, you can talk or you can present a rhetoric, but those have to be backed by plans, strategies, and what do you call the actions. I don't see any of that here. That is why it's more like, it looks like a presentation, very, very shallow presentation.
What do you think that the government should be doing right now? Because it is very clear, and one more thing prior to that is that, do you see a difference between the IMF-led plan, which was the Wickremesinghe administration plan, and this plan? Because right now the government continuously say we are very different. We are different from Wickremesinghe.
See, the Mahieash, my political reading is that, and that is the truth. This is a continuation of Ranil Wickremesinghe government, both politically and economically. I think Ranil Wickremesinghe is the de facto president to date. So it is his
but he's been
extension of his economic agenda, which in other words is IMF agenda, and it looks like that they are getting more even than what they would have otherwise done if Ranil Wickremesinghe was the president, in terms of squeezing people of Sri Lanka to earn that money for their own benefits.
In one of the one of the biggest portions of that budget speech by the president was in 2028. Innet api, naya gewannet api. That was one of the statements he...
No, see, two things about that also I must say, Mahieash. The longer the speech, obviously
it was long.
4.5 hours. Yeah. is really, that also suggests that it lacks vision. It lacks the clarity, content. Then you talk a lot when you don't have something to present precise. So that is what I saw. And also these are kind of loose talk. In other words, you can just say things. That you are in power now, we will be in power there, then also, when it comes to 30, but it's not going to help, you know.
What I wanted to ask you is, do you think the 2028 target of repaying our debt, are we really economically viable to that particular point? Because 2028 is just 2 years away.
Mahieash, this is why I don't want to get into very academic dialogue with you here, because which is going to be quite a lengthy one, and I have to get into the numbers. I see many people comment or discuss numbers. Before you get into the numbers, it's very simple. On the face of it, when you know for a fact that this is not a strategically driven budget, and then no point talking about the numbers, because numbers are numbers, and you are talking numbers in isolation. Had they said we will develop this industry, or we will develop this part of the industry, or we are going in this direction to get this money, and that is how we can make it more efficient and effective, then we can discuss those. So here is no point. And you can say that we will be paying don't worry, we will be paying. How you will be paying? They're not very specific about it. They're not very specific about it. And they can't be specific because there is no plan. They're just saying.
One of the things I've seen, despite the fact that there is an election coming or whether there is no election coming, you are still going all around the country. You are meeting the common man. And one of the main stance of the government has always been recovery is happening. It is all across the board. When you go into these villages, when you speak to these people, do you see the recovery that they're talking about?
No, see, Mahieash, this is the biggest problem. When you get into this dream land of macroeconomics, it's all very theoretical and
graph oriented,
graphs and statistics, and in fact in our case it's not even backed by data or credible data. So the reality at ground level, when you go to these villages, when I say villages, this is beyond Kadawatha, beyond Paradura, they are villages, the rural population. You can see that their buying power has got completely narrowed to a point that they are cutting down on most of the things which they now call them as non-essential things. I can see true poverty because it is if you look at, if we have not given them more money, but the costs have gone up drastically, then there should be a big gap. So we see that. And also, as the government is boasting and saying that they have collected even over the budget, they have $1 trillion extra in the bank in terms of the primary the account balance. What does it mean? That you are taking it from the existing money circulation.
Yeah.
So the money is not being circulated. When money is not being circulated, obviously the people have to suffer. So people do suffer.
What's your alternative? If by any chance, if you were given the authority to govern in terms of the economic portion of this nation, what is the alternative?
No, see, it's very simple. You have to create wealth. To manage the economy, you have to create wealth. In terms of creating wealth, you have to see what are the lowest hanging fruits, what you can do in the short run, then what you can do in the mid-term, then in the long term. We continuously talk about us making money from tourism. I will take that as an example. Now tourism, government has taken 1 year. Now tourism in fact has not grown. If you look at pre-Easter attack numbers, the per tourist spend to the room rates, which are the basic indicators, this has not improved, right? Number of tourists who come to Sri Lanka, if you look at pre-Easter attack,
not ideal.
Yeah. So, and the average spend of a tourist. Though you talk about numbers, what is the average spend of a tourist? If you go by the numbers that they are talking about, it is about $150 a day, which is a very, very low number. This includes 3 meals, transport, recreations, everything. So if they are only spending $150 a day in this country, it is safe to assume that we are taking part of that burden by way of subsidies and giving things at a lesser than the cost price, and which means that we have not at all got extra money by being in this business. So when you ask me this question, what would we have done differently? See, if you are to improve the gain, you have to change the mix of the tourists. Of course, that is not just doing campaigns and destination marketing, which is very, very vital, but then it includes that fixing of the infrastructure, which you can do fast, most of the infrastructure which you can do it fast, and other offerings from our nation should be at that level. So we have not taken any step to push it to that level so that we can get
more.
The extra $100 from there. I mean, if you take the city hotels in Sri Lanka, they are the lowest in the region. You just can't make money from this tourism or the hospitality business. And let's look at silly things that this government has done. We started issuing the licenses, driving licenses, for just mere 2,000 rupees at the airport. So that means that you are eating into that poor taxi driver's wallet too. So it is a big discussion to say that if you are to take tourism to the next level in the short run, what you can do. I can talk, but I know that there is not much time here. But I can say government should be immediately concentrating on improving and increasing the income that you can get from tourists. For that purpose, you have to have
visionary thinking.
Visionary, as in realistic yet strategic thinking. The other thing that I want to say is that if you want to get money from an industry where our compared to tourism. Now tourism, when you make $150 per tourist, easily the imported input in that is over $100 minimum, because starting from energy, food, beverages, or whatnot, the vehicles, all what we have to invest, building, all that is imported. So your net gain is what we have to talk about.
That is absolutely accurate, because I think last week also we were talking about the fact that when it comes to tourism, we are never talking about the outgoing tourism from Sri Lankans per se.
Then that's another angle to that. Then you have to reduce the outbound tourism, the figure. So then you arrive at the net figure.
The real figure.
The real figure could be even minus. I'm sure it is minus. For that, whether the country has taken a strategic decision to improve the local tourism, I'm sure they haven't done anything about it.
Yeah.
For people, why people go abroad? Example, affluential people would travel to destinations like Singapore or sometimes Thailand or Dubai for shopping. So we have not made those options available for Sri Lankans in our country. So they tend to sort of look for other destinations. I'm just taking this as an example. But if you look at the industry like a industry like minerals, I mean, their input would be input could be more in terms of investment, which we should attract as a FDI. Some companies come and should invest for sure, but we don't have to take the burden of importation of goods and net that we are not making money off mineral industry. So I would say, if you want to move forward and be safe and to be progressive, we have to look at a couple of industries to push the nation forward. Actually, if you list down, most of these industries are completely dependent on imports. Yes. Our garment industry, our agriculture industry. If you look at our agriculture industry, except water and soil, everything else is imported. Everything else is imported, including seeds, fertilizer, then the pesticides, even the machinery, everything is imported. So you have to look at net.
Absolutely.
So
I want to talk a little bit more about that, but before that I would need to take a short break. Dilith, we are in conversation with parliamentarian Dilith Jayaweera, the leader of the Sarvajana Balaya. We are talking his reactions and the opposition's reaction to the current budget, and also there is a lot more to discuss about the current political climate here in Sri Lanka. Let's take a short commercial break. This is Get Real. We'll be right back. Welcome back everyone to Get Real. I'm in conversation with parliamentarian Dilith Jayaweera, the leader of the Sarvajana Balaya. Dilith, we've been talking about reactions to the budget. I want to get your take on this entire gospel that has been spread across Sri Lanka for quite some time, since 2022 onwards, that IMF is the solution. I don't think you believe that. And if IMF is not the solution, then what is?
No, I'm not just saying IMF is not the only solution. I'm saying it by studying what has happened to the countries across the world who have completely depended on IMF only. And the other aspect of it is IMF is on the face of it, and mostly it is a funding agency, though it has quite a lot of other objectives. As far as Sri Lankan economy is concerned, we should look at them from that perspective. Mahieash, it's like this now. See, country needs capital. In forming capital, it is important that we get into loans. When we get into loans, of course, it comes with interest. So we should be able to pay interest. So why we get loans is to invest them and get bigger returns than the interest attached to that. That is how the commercial world also operates, and other countries do. Now, when we go to the IMF, after the so-called bankruptcy, it is like a company which has in fact got into very serious financial difficulties. You go into a bank. So you start from a very weak wicket. That's true. Then what happens to the bank is, bank would want to basically bully you to the maximum, because that is their objective, is to get not just recover, no, get best benefits out of it, best returns out of it. So their main objective is that. So when you negotiate as a country, you must understand that. That is what they are trying to arrive at. In that sense, I still firmly think that we did not negotiate enough. We had lots of reasons which could have been used in our advantage in negotiating with them and rest of the institutions, countries. However, that is a past. Now, to achieve their objective, they give a formula. What is their objective? For them to recover their investments. Primary objective. There are other political objectives, obviously.
Yeah.
When they go to countries, they try to achieve bigger geopolitical objectives. That is why these organizations are there. I'm not discounting that, but I'm talking about this particular scenario and this particular aspect of it. Now, when they give you a formula, let's say you are a company, the banks would give you a formula and say this is how you should run the hotel. First cut down the number of staff, then cut down their salaries, then cut down their staff meal, then cut down on their service charges.
Is that what is happening to us?
Then cut down on your refurbishment. Then cut down on your other capital expenditure, including the kitchen equipment or whatever. It's exactly what has happened. So after the 5th year, you have not got a loyal staff with you because they have got very poorly paid. They are demotivated, right? Their life standards have gone really down. As a result, you can't expect a quality human resources background. Then you are not refurbished the hotel. Then you have not got the cutlery, crockery, you have not bought anything new. After the 5th year, you have serviced the bank debt.
You lost the plot.
Yeah. So now you have to start from the 5th year, you have no money in your account, even to go for a basic refurbishment, or to buy the cutlery, crockery or whatever to get some trained staff, because your staff, you will assuming that is reality, and they would have left. Exactly what is happening. There is no better analogy to explain what is happening and what is going to happen. So we are...
What's the alternative then?
Alternative is a combination of that. So I am not a conventional anti-IMF person,
Unlike me.
Yeah, not like you, For me, I see it as an opportunity. Provided that you are negotiating with them from a position of strength. You can negotiate with big banks. Small companies do negotiate with big banks in their businesses day to day. But you negotiate with them from that position of strength. Here we got into completely a dependent body and very miserable body, and you went there kneeling down. You did not talk about your strengths. You didn't talk about your rights. If a bank has lent you, they should have done quite a lot of due diligence, and as a result, we have the right to negotiate, and how we negotiate, we have to take into consideration those facts. I will take one simple example. As you can see, the last year's budget and the capital vote of that budget, I don't have the exact number, it is in and around 20% to 25% only that we have spent. So now where is the rest of the money? We didn't invest, right? We didn't build roads. Forget building, we didn't maintain roads. We did not maintain school buildings, infrastructure. We didn't build buildings. We didn't add anything to the government's investment portfolio. We have not invested by way of capital. So now what happens? You are eroding.
Yeah.
Now that is why the terminology of balance sheet economics. So you need to look at your final balance sheet, what has happened to you. Then there are two balance sheets, your internal balance sheet and the external balance sheets. That is why it is important for us to discuss what has happened to us in terms of international investment position of Sri Lanka. If it is like 50 556, maybe 58 billion minus. We are in big trouble. Huge trouble. Now then you come and say, don't worry, we will be in power, we will pay. Now, take the same analogy. Take the same analogy where I took that hotel as an example.
Yeah.
I can say that. But how?
It is different.
How? What have you done? Have you added a pool? As a result, you will get more weekend
Stars.
traffic. Have you refurbished your rooms so that you can increase your rate? Have you added extra kitchen, you can do more banqueting? What have you done? So how do you say that you are going to face? What have you done? So if you have not got, if you are not attracting big FDIs, we need like minimum 3 to 4 billion a year immediately as straight FDIs. I can tell you that.
But none of the investors are interested in coming into Sri Lanka because...
No, that is because Sri Lanka does not offer anything attractive, significant for a serious investor to come to Sri Lanka. Instead, we do the exact opposite in our offering. We, day by day, we try to portray our country as more as a very weak, failed, full of corruption, full of drugs, without discipline, and on top of that,
violence also.
On top of that, yes, violence. On top of that, we also give them that the mixed signal that the democracy is also in jeopardy.
I want to get into that. Recently, at a press conference, you were talking about that this government is going after opposition voices per se, not just the members of parliament, but opposition voices, opposing voices. But then the president says something else in parliament saying, you know, criticize us, give us the feedback, that is okay. But then when it has been done, then we see a different point of view. How do you analyze this current political climate in that context? Because you are a very vocal individual when it comes to opposing the government and giving an opposing viewpoint. How do you see? Do you fear for yourself? Or
no, it's like this. Whether I personally feel scared is a different matter. I don't. It's very difficult for someone to put me in that situation. But now it sort of suggests that when government actively taking some actions like withdrawing security and giving different interpretations to the politicians and try to sort of drive the public in that direction, and that in fact creates sort of that threat, subtle threat, and also you feel that you are not comfortable. So that is the beginning of a bigger disaster.
Do you think there will be a bigger disaster?
No, it has to be. No, if you are not addressing the basic needs of the poor, if you are not addressing the real economic issues at ground levels of the country, if you are not being sensitive to the culture of the country, if you are not promoting moral values which are based on our traditional thinking, so you are challenging the existence of this social fabric. So there will be quite a lot of reactions. There are reactions, and there will be more reactions. So I don't think that they are ready. They're prepared to listen. They possess the know-how and the knowledge.
But when you listen to all these speeches made by even today in Parliament by members of the government, it looks like as if they think that they're kings forever.
No, that is because, as Prime Minister had told, they are they are centrally driven. They are ideologically driven by the center, which is Pelavatta headquarters. So it looks like that they are given confidence from there to say, don't worry, it's all under control. You go all out and defend. But if you talk to those individuals, I'm not trying to look down upon them, starting from their capacity, the knowledge, all that.
Lots of professors, doctors.
Yeah, but they are proficient in their respective academic lines.
Not a politician.
They may be so, I don't know. In certain cases, I'm still not convinced. But anyway, let's say they are. But when it comes to a bigger gamut of politics, and when we are in a country like Sri Lanka, where geopolitics play a massive role, then the economics have become very complicated, then the social fabric is torn, and all that has happened for whatever the reason, right or wrong. Then on top of that, they don't have political experience in terms of governing. They don't have practical experience. They have never dealt with the real world. Many of them have never been to even a restaurant. And many of them have never been to a pub, bar, or a public place. They have completely lived in a sort of very isolated environment, as they themselves say. And they have never paid a single cent as taxes. Some of them have never seen, except the parliament salary probably, they have never seen a source of income on their own. They have not seen the real world challenges. So when they are put into the deep end, without any life-saving support, obviously they would jump up a few times. But then at the end, they are destined to drown. So that's the truth.
You spoke about something very interesting, the geopolitics. Do you think this government has the grasp of this geopolitical pressure that we are getting from India, the United States, China, and even these...
No, see, they have made a mess of this geopolitics. I can tell you that politics is something, obviously is very complicated in today's context for any country. But if you are to face the realities of geopolitics, first thing is that you have to have a strong policy. Policy. What is? You have to have that tool with you. Then you can work with any country which would be always seen as policy driven. Not whims and fancies of an individual or somebody or another country, or you're not being used by another country. Your decisions are policy driven. So today, our country, if one asks the government, what is your real international policy? They wouldn't be able to say that. But strong governments, strong countries, you can see their foreign ministers, when they come to even media, they have that strong policy-driven statements. Here, we ball like by India. Ball, we play this game ball by ball. You don't have a strategy for the entire match, So that's what I'm saying. So in that situation, it's really difficult to win the match.
And that would mean we would be somebody else's pawn very soon, because I really don't see how...
no, without their knowledge.
Exactly.
Without their knowledge. But I don't see in certain cases they are actually intentionally doing certain things. I must be honest about it. The sheer lack of knowledge, on top of that lack of political ideology, centrally driven political ideology, then as a result a strong foreign policy, so you are definitely getting into trouble. I mean, not that they are going to get into trouble, they will put our country in trouble and our people in trouble. And that's going to be, the effect is going to be very, very long lasting. So that's the issue.
Indeed. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we return, we want to talk about the current situation here in Sri Lanka with regard to our social issues, especially drugs in the rampant right now. Mostly the government says that they have programs after programs, but then there are questions about whether these programs are effective, or are these programs are just lavish ceremonies that is being done just to fool the people over and over again. I'll get parliamentarian Dilith Jayaweera's response to that, the leader of the Sarvajana Balaya. Let's take a short commercial break. You're watching Get Real. We'll be right back. Welcome back everyone to Get Real. I'm in conversation with parliamentarian Dilith Jayaweera, the leader of the Sarvajana Balaya. Dilith, this is our final segment. Let's talk a little bit about the current fabric of society. Drugs are on the rampant, and then when the government is pointing the finger at the opposition, then we find drugs related to certain members of the ruling party, and then obviously there is this finger pointing that is occurring, but then the little the people who suffer from that are children. And do you see a concrete plan? Because right now the government came out with a so-called plan, like Ivat Venu was the tagline of that entire campaign. Do you see a real credible action that is being taken towards this? Because this has been going there since, I think.
The Mahieash, it is very clear that Ivat Venu is another clean Sri Lanka.
The other project, something else.
Clean Sri Lanka project. It's a political project. That itself would put us in this mindset to check or to think, are they genuine about it? So my observation, I must tell you, not just as a opposition MP or representing the opposition, had they been honest and genuine, and they really wanted to be trying to eradicate this menace, they would have acted very differently. First of all, this drug issue is not about some people bringing drugs and then some people selling, some people consuming. It is not as simple as that. This is connected to everything in the society, including the moral values to start with. You know, so a nation like Sri Lanka, which has a very strong cultural heritage and with lots of civilizational values, family bonds, and the concentration, the closely knittedness in the society, you know, these are the fundamentals. Just because drug is available, I am not going to consume it, because I come from a certain background which will not allow me to even experiment. So if we are coming from such strong values, then you are not going to get into it, right? We are not the West. You know, we are very respectful of our parents. We can in fact say we are scared of our parents. You know, the family is the key, and then the respect. Not like in the Western world or some other countries, individuals respect plays a huge role. No, you want to protect your goodwill.
Don't you see that?
So, let me just add a few more sentences to that. So, if we are trying to eradicate this, first you bring those lost values, if at all, if you have lost. Then bring the things, tools like the religion, tools like the temple, the church, the kovils, then that, that body can do a lot in controlling this. And the second is the recreational options, entertainment options. That is also very important. We are not doing anything about it. By taxing the other entertainment options, not so harmful, starting from cinema to from gyms to sports to where the youth would get more attracted. So we are not going in that direction. We are not investing in anything. We have to invest more in those areas so that you basically it's a clock. No? You have to consume more of the time out of that clock by other recreational options, so that you have less of an opportunity. The other most important thing is the economic reality. The less fortunate, the so-called poor people get into drugs as a result of poverty. Though they get further entrenched into that is a different matter, because they are, it gives them a sort of breeding ground, because they are the floor workers, they are the laborers, they are those, So we have to change that. Now, if people can afford, let's say, a light liquor, like the beers, the wines, or whatever, legal ways of intoxication, as you call it, happiness, then the people would tend to go in that direction, which is less harmful. I'm not propagating that. Even other smoking options. So you got to give the target group options. To give the options, you have to give them better economic conditions. Now, by squeezing them, making them feel miserable, making them feel hopeless, making them feel sort of unfortunate, so they obviously would be dragged into this kind of extreme options. So it is sociological, it is economical, it is in a way religious and cultural. So without addressing those things, if you go and paste posters, say Ivatvenu, who is going to Ivatven? No one is going to Ivatven. And just by capturing vessels and ships and whatever, and putting them behind bars, and these are the last set of tools that you would use in a genuine effort to address the issue of drugs. So this is what I am trying to say.
Dilith, very quickly, next few years, how do you see this entire country? Do you think we're going to go, I mean, obviously, I know the answer to this, but is there at least a little bit of hope?
No, see, hope is a concept. Hope is a mindset. But I don't think the government even is trying to give you hope. They try to make, with their negative narrative, which is being spread daily basis, they make the whole nation hopeless. And if you look at the attitude of the government, it does not give locally the entrepreneurs any courage or any hope. I don't think that this will give any hope to any foreign investor. Then if you look at the diplomatic circles, since I talk to them and I meet them, I can see how they feel. So if we are to move forward, we must remember that we are not an isolated island. We have to deal with our regional competition. We have to deal with the global competition. We have to deal with the global realities. So if we are to face the world, we have to be a nation with a strong narrative and a very positive narrative, without just talking some negative things daily basis.
Indeed, well, that's a good point to. That's a positive point to in that conversation tonight.
No, Mahieash, by saying that, I must say that as a political party, we are hopeful that this has indirectly given us an opportunity to come up with a stronger alternative. We are now going to the people and discussing, and first time, I think, in Sri Lankan political history, a very, very positive narrative, which is to establish a entrepreneurial state. So we are hopeful in that sense. But if you are to be hopeful along with this existing government, I think that's a different story. It's very, very difficult.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thank you very much, Dilith, for taking the time to
thank you, Mahieash. Thank you very much.
On the program and actually share your thoughts on many areas, especially with regard to our economy. Well, that's, like I said, that's all the time we have for you tonight. We'll be back again next Monday with another episode of Get Real, with another notable newsmaker from here at home or from all around the world. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Don't worry. Be happy. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no gal to make you smile, but don't worry. Be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry. Be happy, don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, don't do it. Be happy. Put a smile on your face. Don't bring everybody down like this. Don't worry. It will soon pass, whatever it is. Don't worry, be happy.